Having both games with Gold and PlayStation Plus is a genuine nightmare should you make sure to get each of their games monthly. At the minimum, 9 games every month are constantly added to my overwhelming collection, and that's ignoring my PC collection where I also subscribe to Humble Monthly. Why do I bring this up? Well, as a consequence of so many games being stockpiled, great games managed to slip through my hands, meaning that although I got them for free months, even years ago, I never get around to actually playing them. Super Time Force Ultra just so happens to be one of those great games that slipped through. I recall playing just the tutorial when I first got my Xbox One almost 2 years ago now, and whilst I wasn't necessarily hooked on the game in that short amount of time, I was still intrigued. This week I decided to give it a go after hearing many players online say that they completed the game in around 4 to 5 hours. I had an afternoon spare after programming and decided why the hell not. The game starts off with a tutorial which instantly shows off all the game's mechanics. Some things are trivial, like the fact that each character has a different set of weapons and abilities, but some things are extreme. Take for example the game's core mechanic of rewinding time. This ability allows characters to press the B button to instantly start a rewinder mechanic. Wherever you choose, you can spawn a new character anywhere where the main character was, allowing for multiple shots on an enemy or putting people in the paths of collectibles. This timeout feature is the highlight of the whole game, and an ability that will take the whole game to master. When I first started playing Super Time Force Ultra, I felt overwhelmed. The amount of bullets and enemies on screen at any one time can be astronomical, and the timer certainly doesn't help to alleviate any stress you may have. Once you get used to the timeout feature, you start to realise how easy the game is, and how each level has been designed to take advantage of these multiple characters on the screen at any one time. It's actually genius how a mechanic that brought me great stress at the beginning soon evolved into one of the most enjoyable parts of the game. I would genuinely hang around stages and waste time just to see if I could kill more enemies or get more loot whilst using as many timeouts as possible. As I said before, each character has their own abilities and weapons, allowing you to mix and match multiple characters until your heart's content. Pressing the X button once will fire a simple attack, with holding it down and releasing producing a more powerful ability. I'll be honest, the vast majority of the game I never use the standard attack. It's just too hard to have to constantly press one button when you can just charge up a stronger attack consistently. The story is somewhat funny and revolves around a professor that has discovered time travel and his future self who has assembled a super time force to make time adhere to whatever he wants it to. Sergeant Repeatsky, as he's well known, sets you and your team out to all manner of random and crazy points in time. One minute you're fighting dinosaurs, the next you're in a computer, and eventually you'll even be ascending to heaven whilst fighting angels. It's a ludicrous idea, but one that I thoroughly enjoyed. From start to finish I was wondering how the game was going to top its own humour. Suffice to say, it succeeded in making me chuckle quite regularly. The levels are well played out and offer enough variety that no two scenes ever feel alike. You're constantly having to think on your feet, which is fantastic when you have so much leeway in how many timeouts you can have should you accidentally die. Each timeout on a stage feels refreshingly new, with enemies dying ahead of you from your previous attempts and secrets found that otherwise wouldn't have been. The boss encounters are also fantastic, and take advantage of the timeout mechanic even more, making you repeat your fight against the boss over and over again until you get it perfectly using a combination of skill and firepower. I found the strategy of place as many machine gunners around the stage as possible a perfectly acceptable method that managed to get the job done consistently. There's also plenty of reasons to keep coming back to the levels well after you've finished them. Glorps are hidden throughout levels, both within enemies and breakable objects. When you kill an enemy or break an object, they come flying out in a semi-random direction, and should they touch the floor, they're useless. This breaking mechanic ties well in with the timeout ability, as it means you're constantly replaying levels not only to build up enough firepower to kill enemies, but also to collect glorps as they're ejected. It's hard to nitpick anything bad about the game. I mean, after a while you could say the pacing and difficulty gets easy, but then the studios fixed this with their new Ultra mode, where you need to save each timeout version of yourself, otherwise you start the level again. If I really had to say a bad thing about the game, it'd be that the basic 3 characters have plenty enough firepower and abilities to never use anyone else throughout the rest of the campaign. Yes, I messed with other characters. Cleo, for example, has an awesome boomerang ability, which essentially makes her untouchable, but for the most part I relied on my shooter, sniper and shield. As I said at the start of this review, it's annoying owning so many games. Yes, I know, that's a proper first world problem right there. But as more and more indie developers saturate the market with fantastic games, it's going to be hard for everyone to play the standout achievements like Super Time Force. It genuinely is a mental platformer, one that takes you to your limits, both in stress, but also enjoyment. If you find that you have Super Time Force in your library, give it a go. You will not be disappointed.